Hi there, it's Jeff, and welcome to my YouTube channel for those that are new and for those that subscribe. In this little video, shaker doors, the easiest way possible. This is so easy to do. All you need is a flat panel and cut some strips, and I'm going to show you how easy it is to do. I've done these shaker doors previously before in a video, and as you can see behind me, this is a different method of doing it, where we're making the actual sides and ends and gluing them together, biscuits, then inserting your panel. But this way is another way I just wanted to share with you, and it's the easiest way possible for you to have a go at. So keep following, and I'll show you the easy steps on how to make these shaker doors DIY style. Okay, before we begin, I'm just going to go through my components, or the components that you're going to need to do this. And it's quite easy. All I've done is kept with the same material. In my case, it's just raw MDF. And I've got myself some, it's around about 5mm MDF, and I've cut it to strips. This is around about 70mm wide. And I've just cut these to length using my table saw, and I've made these the same. These are going to be the two side pieces. They're going to be cut to the same height as the door, and they will just be positioned like that. And these are going to be the ends that fit into the other area here on the ends. So I've just cut these to size, just using the table saw. Make sure that they're nice and square. And you can fit this in position just in a dry fit, just to make sure everything's going to work. Don't be too fussy if your add-on pieces are sticking out just a little bit over your edge, because you can always flush trim them with a router bit, which I might do after this anyway. If not, you can also trim the door, make all this a little bit oversized, and then trim it to size after it's glued on the table saw, which I'll show you. I'm going to do that as well. So that's just a dry fit, everything into position just before I do glue up. And that's all it is, just cutting these strips, putting them into position here like that, as if it was looking like a shaker door. And there you go. Happy days. It's going to be nice and easy to do. And next we'll get on to the gluing. I'm going to put some weight down on it and leave it overnight. Okay, got my pieces ready to go. Just a matter of spreading out some glue, one at a time. I just might make sure I've got a little bit more around the edges as well. And pretty much when I put this down, it's going to be sort of more like a traditional rub joint. Just making sure that the glue is spread around. Okay. Okay, putting it into position. Okay, now I've got a couple of pieces of timber here set up. That's just to give me a guide and make sure it's flush there. Okay, that's where I want it. Next I'll do the ends. Okay, once you're happy with the positioning of these strips, just gluing them on, it's as simple as that. It is ideal if you do have a little pin gun. I don't happen to have one. The smallest I can do is around about, with my little small nail gun, is around about 25 mil or 20 mil, something around about that. And altogether with this setup, I think I'm around about 16 millimeters. So that's because I've used 12 mil board for the base, and around about 5 mil, 6 mil for these strips. So yeah, if you do have a pin gun, it'd be good to just pin them into position so they won't move. Put some weights on it, leave it overnight. But I don't have that luxury, so I'm just going to do. I've got them into position. I'm just going to use a bit of board on top and put some weights on it and leave it overnight. Okay. Okay, I've got my weights down onto my door now. Of course, there is a few other ways you could do this. Like I said, one was putting some pins in it. Another way is just putting some weight on it. Another way, of course, is if you had some bench clamps, or dogs, what you call, so they clamp onto your bench and hold down, or like the Matchfit with the dovetail clamp setup, which is how I did my other door, which had the V-grooves in it. So there's a few other ways you could clamp this door down while the glue's drying. So I'm going to let this one glue overnight with the weights on it, and I'll see you soon with the next step. Okay, just checking out my door now. I've just taken all the weights off it. It stayed overnight, and it's turned out, as you can see, looks like a shaker door. What I've got to do next is just run the edges over here. I'm just going to trim this on my table saw and just take off about 1 millimeter, not too much, just a little bit, just to trim it. I made it a little bit oversized anyway, and just trim all the edges off so they're nice and flush. And then I'll get my little trimmer and I'll just run a little round over bit along the edges here, just so it's not sharp, and then that should be it. Well, there you have it, one finished shaker door, and I guarantee you it's going to be the easiest way possible to make shaker doors. Start off with a flat panel, cut yourself some strips, glue them into position in the traditional way that the shaker door is made, with the joints visible, butt it up together. With a coat of paint, this is going to look fantastic. One other thing I wanted to show you as well, because this is just a flat panelled shaker door, I did one with V-grooves in it. See, as you can see, I put some a series of V-groove lines in it. In my previous video, when I did make the other style shaker doors using a different method, as you can see behind me here, I've done just in 3 equal panels inside there. This one's got a few more. But it's really up to you, up to your imagination of what you want to do inside that panel, but it can be achieved. Only thing you've got to remember is when you are routering out that V-groove, that you start and stop in the middle of these strips, because you don't want your V-groove continuing and coming all the way out onto your top or your ends of your door. And that can be really easily achieved, as you saw in my clip there, using the router guide that I've made to suit my trimmer. If you haven't seen that, I'll leave a link there for you with that one, but that's how I made these V-grooves, just marking my lines and passing that V-groove through it really easily. And after that, basically, you just want to make sure you just give it a good coat of sanding. Take off the edges there with little chamfer, as you saw, and they're easy doors to make yourself, DIY. To upgrade. And other thing you can think of as well is that if you do have some plain boring old doors at home that are just flat, you could just cut yourself the strips and put them on the edges as well. It is a bit time consuming, obviously, to cut them and to glue them and to clamp them, or like I said, if you do have a pin gun, you can pin them into place while the glue's drying. Just give it all the sand and a bit of putty over the pinholes, and away you go. But I just wanted to share this other method of making these shaker doors, which is really easy to make. And that just about wraps up this video for today. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, thumbs up, share with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe to keep up to my latest videos, and hopefully I'll see you in one of my next videos.